The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the quiet suburban streets of Portland, Oregon. Oliver stepped out of his car, the familiar scent of pine and freshly cut grass filling his lungs. It had been years since he last visited his family's home, and as he approached the front door, a mix of excitement and anxiety bubbled within him. He took a deep breath, adjusting the strap of his messenger bag across his shoulder. The house was just as he remembered, charming and slightly worn, with ivy creeping up the sides and a welcoming porch adorned with colorful flowers. As he knocked on the door, memories flooded back, family gatherings filled with laughter, his mother's cooking wafting through the air, and the sound of his younger siblings playing in the yard. The door swung open, revealing his sister, Sarah, her face lighting up with joy. "Oliver, you made it," she exclaimed, pulling him into a warm embrace. "Hey, Sarah, it's so good to see you," he replied, grinning as he stepped inside. The familiar interior wrapped around him like a comforting blanket, photos lined the walls, capturing moments frozen in time. "Everyone's in the backyard," she said, leading him through the cozy living room. "We're having a barbecue to celebrate your visit." As they stepped into the backyard, Oliver was greeted by a chorus of cheerful voices. Family members gathered around a grill, laughter mingling with the sizzling sound of burgers cooking. He spotted his younger brother, Jake, flipping patties while their father shared stories with a group of relatives. But it was Noah who caught his eye. Noah stood slightly apart from the crowd, leaning against a tree with a drink in hand. At 21 years old, he had transformed from the shy boy Oliver remembered into a striking young man. His dark hair fell just above his eyes, and he wore a casual t-shirt that accentuated his lean physique. There was something magnetic about him, an air of curiosity and warmth that drew Oliver in. "Hey, there's my favorite nephew," Oliver called out, waving as he approached Noah. Noah looked up from his drink, surprise flashing across his face before it melted into a smile that sent butterflies fluttering in Oliver's stomach. "Uncle Oliver, I didn't know you were coming." He pushed himself off the tree and walked over. Oliver felt an unexpected rush of affection as they embraced. "I've missed you," he said softly. "Same here," Noah replied, stepping back to look at him. "You look different." "Good different or bad different?" Oliver teased. "Definitely good," Noah laughed, his cheeks flushing slightly. "You look well-traveled." They fell into easy conversation as they mingled with family members. Oliver found himself stealing glances at Noah throughout the evening, the way he laughed at jokes, how animated he became when discussing his college classes. There was an undeniable connection between them that felt both thrilling and terrifying. As night fell and the stars began to twinkle overhead, Oliver felt an urge to spend more time alone with Noah. He suggested they explore the old basement, a place filled with childhood memories and forgotten treasures. "Are you sure? It's kind of dusty down there," Noah replied playfully. "I'll take my chances if you're with me," Oliver said with a wink. Noah chuckled and nodded. "All right then, let's go." They descended into the basement together, leaving behind the warmth of family chatter for a space that felt like their own secret world. The basement was dimly lit but held an air of nostalgia, old boxes stacked high against the walls and remnants of their childhood scattered about. As they began rummaging through boxes filled with forgotten toys and dusty photo albums, laughter echoed off the walls. Noah pulled out an old baseball glove and tossed it to Oliver playfully. "Remember when we used to play catch?" Noah asked, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "Of course. You were terrible at it," Oliver teased back. "Hey, I was just practicing my technique." Noah shot back with mock indignation. Their playful banter continued until they stumbled upon an old photo album filled with pictures from family gatherings long past. They sat side by side on an old couch that creaked beneath them as they flipped through pages filled with memories, each photograph sparking stories that brought them closer together. As they turned to a page featuring a younger version of themselves at a family picnic, their shoulders brushed against each other, a simple touch that sent electric sparks through Oliver's body. He glanced sideways at Noah, their eyes met for just a moment before they both looked away shyly. "Wow, we were such dorks," Noah said softly, breaking the tension but not quite dispelling it. "Speak for yourself," Oliver replied with a grin, trying to lighten the mood but feeling something deeper stirring within him. The atmosphere shifted subtly as they continued to share stories about their lives, their dreams and aspirations intertwining like threads in a tapestry. With every laugh and shared secret, Oliver felt an undeniable pull towards Noah, a connection that transcended mere familial affection. As they sat there in comfortable silence surrounded by memories of their pasts, Oliver realized this reunion was more than just catching up, it was about rediscovering each other in ways he never anticipated. Little did they know that this night would mark the beginning of something profound, something that would challenge their perceptions of love and family forever. The basement felt like a hidden sanctuary, a space untouched by the chaos of the world above. Dust motes danced in the dim light as Oliver and Noah settled into their exploration, surrounded by remnants of their childhood. The air was thick with nostalgia, and the atmosphere buzzed with unspoken tension. Noah pulled open an old trunk, revealing a treasure trove of forgotten toys and mementos. "Look at this," he exclaimed, holding up a faded action figure. "I can't believe we used to play with these." Oliver chuckled, leaning closer to inspect the toy. "I remember you used to make up these elaborate stories about them. You were always the hero." "Of course, I had to save the day," Noah replied, a playful grin spreading across his face. The moment felt light, but beneath it lay an undercurrent of something deeper, an awareness of how much they had both changed. As they continued to sift through boxes, Oliver found an old baseball glove and tossed it to Noah. "Here's your trusty glove. Ready for another round?" Noah caught it easily, his fingers brushing against Oliver's as he did. The brief contact sent a jolt through Oliver, igniting a spark of excitement and fear. "Only if you promise not to laugh at my skills this time," Noah said, feigning seriousness. "Deal," Oliver replied, though he could hardly contain his smile. They began tossing the glove back and forth in the confined space, laughter echoing off the walls as they reminisced about their childhood games. Each throw felt like a bridge being built between them, reconnecting them in ways they hadn't expected. After a while, they collapsed onto the couch, breathless from laughter. The playful atmosphere shifted as they settled into a more comfortable silence, their hearts racing from both exertion and something unnameable that hung in the air. Noah leaned back against the couch, looking up at the ceiling as if searching for answers among the cobwebs. "You know," he began softly, "I've always admired you." Oliver turned to him, surprised by the sudden seriousness in Noah's tone. "Really? Why's that? You've always been so confident and free-spirited," Noah said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've always wanted to be like you." Oliver felt a warmth spread through him at Noah's words. "You are confident in your own way," he replied earnestly. "You're passionate about your art and your studies. It takes courage to pursue what you love." Noah smiled shyly, but there was something more in his gaze, a vulnerability that tugged at Oliver's heartstrings. "Sometimes I feel like I don't fit in anywhere," he admitted. "Like I'm just trying to figure out who I am." Oliver's heart raced at Noah's honesty. He wanted to reach out and comfort him but hesitated, unsure of how to navigate this new territory between them. Instead, he chose his words carefully. "It's okay not to have everything figured out," he said gently. "We're all just trying to find our place." Noah nodded slowly, his expression contemplative. "I guess I just wish I could be more like you, more open about who I am." The air grew thick with unspoken feelings as Oliver studied Noah's face, illuminated by the soft glow of a nearby lamp. He felt compelled to bridge the distance between them, not just physically but emotionally as well. "Being open is scary," Oliver confessed, his voice steady despite the rapid beating of his heart. "But sometimes it's worth it." Noah turned his gaze toward Oliver, their eyes locking in an intense moment that seemed to stretch on forever. The world outside faded away, all that mattered was this connection, their shared vulnerability. In that instant, Oliver leaned closer, drawn by an irresistible force. He hesitated for just a heartbeat before closing the distance between them. Their lips met softly at first, a gentle exploration filled with uncertainty and longing. The kiss deepened as they melted into each other, igniting something within both of them that had been waiting for this moment. It was sweet and tentative yet charged with an intensity that took Oliver by surprise. When they finally pulled away, breathless and wide-eyed, reality crashed back in around them like a tidal wave. They sat in stunned silence, processing what had just happened. I didn't mean to," Noah stammered, his cheeks flushed with color. "Neither did I," Oliver replied quietly, his heart racing as he searched Noah's eyes for understanding. Noah looked down at his hands, clearly flustered but also intrigued by what had just transpired between them. "What does this mean?" he asked softly. I don't know, Oliver admitted honestly. But I think we need to talk about it. Noah nodded slowly, still processing their kiss but also seeming eager for clarity. They spent the next few moments gathering their thoughts amidst the remnants of their childhood scattered around them. I've always felt something special between us, Noah finally said after a pause, his voice steadying with newfound determination. But I didn't know how to express it. Oliver felt a rush of relief wash over him at Noah's admission. Me too, he confessed. I've been feeling it for a while now but didn't know how to say it. They exchanged shy smiles filled with promise, a silent agreement that this moment would change everything for both of them. As they sat together in the basement surrounded by memories of their pasts and hopes for their future, Oliver realized that this unexpected reunion had opened doors he never knew existed. The silence in the basement was thick with anticipation as Oliver and Noah processed the weight of their shared kiss. The air felt electric, charged with emotions that had been simmering beneath the surface for far too long. Oliver's heart raced, a mix of excitement and nervousness coursing through him. Noah broke the silence first, his voice barely above a whisper. So, what now? His eyes searched Oliver's face for answers. I guess we talk about it, Oliver replied, his tone steady despite the whirlwind of thoughts in his mind. I mean, this changes everything. Noah nodded slowly, his expression serious. Yeah, it does. I've never felt this way about anyone before. It's overwhelming. Oliver felt a rush of warmth at Noah's honesty. Me too. I've always cared about you, but I didn't realize how deep those feelings ran until just now. Noah shifted slightly, leaning closer as if drawn by an invisible force. I've always admired you from afar, he admitted, his voice softening. You were always the cool uncle who had all the fun stories and adventures. I wanted to be like you. Oliver smiled at that, feeling a swell of affection for Noah. You are amazing in your own right. You have so much passion and talent, it's inspiring. Thanks, Noah said, his cheeks flushing slightly. But it's hard to feel that way sometimes, especially when I'm still figuring out who I am. Oliver reached out, gently placing a hand on Noah's knee, a comforting gesture that felt intimate yet safe. You don't have to have everything figured out right now. We can figure it out together. Noah met Oliver's gaze, his eyes glistening with vulnerability. What if this complicates things? We're family. Family can be complicated, Oliver replied thoughtfully. But that doesn't mean we should ignore what we feel. Love is messy sometimes. Noah took a deep breath, absorbing Oliver's words as he wrestled with his emotions. I just don't want to hurt anyone, he said finally. I understand, Oliver said gently. But we can navigate this carefully. We don't have to rush into anything we're not ready for. As they spoke, the tension in the room began to shift from uncertainty to possibility. They were both aware that they were standing on the precipice of something new and profound. Can we take things slow? Noah asked, his voice steadying as he looked into Oliver's eyes. Absolutely, Oliver replied with a reassuring smile. Let's just enjoy getting to know each other in this new light. With that agreement hanging in the air between them, they leaned back into their comfortable silence, allowing the moment to settle around them like a warm embrace. After a while, Noah broke the quiet again, this time with a playful glint in his eyes. So, what else do you have hidden down here? Oliver laughed, relieved by Noah's attempt to lighten the mood. Oh, you have no idea. This basement is a treasure trove of embarrassing memories. Embarrassing. Now you have my attention. Noah grinned widely. They began rummaging through boxes again, pulling out old toys and photographs that sparked laughter and stories from their childhoods. Each item became a thread weaving them closer together as they shared memories, some silly, some poignant. As they sifted through an old box filled with school projects and art supplies, Noah pulled out a crumpled piece of paper covered in doodles and notes from when he was a kid. Look at this. I drew you as a superhero, he exclaimed, holding it up triumphantly. Oliver chuckled at the crude drawing of himself in a cape and mask. Wow, I was quite the catch back then. He took the paper from Noah and studied it closely. I think you still are, Noah said softly, his gaze lingering on Oliver's face. Their eyes locked again for what felt like an eternity, an unspoken acknowledgement of their feelings hanging heavily in the air between them once more. Feeling bold, Oliver leaned closer again, brushing his lips against Noah's in another soft kiss, a gentle exploration that spoke volumes of their connection without needing words. When they pulled away this time, both were breathless but smiling widely. The kiss had ignited something deeper within them, a sense of belonging that transcended their familial ties. "I could get used to this," Noah murmured, his cheeks flushed with warmth. "Me too," Oliver replied earnestly. "This feels right." They spent the rest of the evening sharing stories and laughter while also stealing kisses whenever they thought no one would notice, each moment solidifying their bond further. As they finally settled back onto the couch amidst scattered memories of their pasts and hopes for their future, Oliver realized how much he had longed for this connection, the chance to explore not just who they were but who they could become together. The basement may have been filled with remnants of their childhoods, but tonight it became something more, a sacred space where two souls found each other amidst the chaos of life. The days that followed felt like a whirlwind of emotions for Oliver and Noah. Each moment spent together deepened their connection, and the basement had transformed into their secret haven, a place where they could explore their feelings without the weight of the outside world pressing down on them. As the sun began to set one evening, casting a warm glow through the small basement window, Oliver found himself lost in thought, sketching on a notepad he had brought along. He was capturing the essence of their shared moments, each stroke of his pencil reflecting the joy and excitement Noah brought into his life. Noah entered quietly, a soft smile spreading across his face as he watched Oliver concentrate. "What are you working on?" he asked, curiosity dancing in his eyes. Oliver looked up, a grin breaking across his face. "Just trying to capture some inspiration," he replied, gesturing for Noah to come closer. "Want to see?" Noah leaned over to peer at the page, his breath catching slightly as he took in the sketch. It was a representation of their time together, two figures intertwined amidst swirling lines that symbolized their laughter and shared secrets. "This is beautiful," Noah said softly, admiration evident in his voice. "You really have a gift." "Thanks," Oliver replied, feeling a warmth spread through him at Noah's praise. "But it's easier to create when I'm inspired by something, or someone." Noah's cheeks flushed at the compliment, and he stepped back slightly, a playful glint in his eyes. "Well, I'd love to be your muse anytime." Oliver chuckled, feeling a spark of mischief ignite within him. "Oh really? You think you can handle that kind of pressure?" "I can handle anything you throw at me," Noah shot back confidently, crossing his arms with a smirk. "All right then," Oliver said, setting down his pencil with a flourish. "Let's see what you've got." Noah raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" "Let's create something together," Oliver suggested, feeling exhilarated by the idea. "We can use whatever we find down here, art supplies, old magazines, anything. We'll make our own masterpiece." Noah's eyes lit up with excitement. "That sounds amazing. Let's do it." They dove into the task with enthusiasm, rummaging through boxes filled with forgotten treasures. They found old paint tubes, magazines with vibrant images, and even some fabric scraps that had been tucked away for years. As they worked side by side, laughter filled the basement once more. They painted and glued pieces together while sharing stories about their lives, dreams for the future and fears they had yet to confront. "Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in this box," Noah admitted as he cut out images from a magazine. "Like everyone expects me to follow a certain path." Oliver paused mid-stroke, looking at Noah with understanding. "I get that. It's hard when people have expectations for you." Noah nodded thoughtfully. "I want to make my own choices but sometimes feel like I'm letting everyone down if I don't follow what they want." "Don't let anyone dictate your life," Oliver said firmly. "You have to live for yourself first." Noah met Oliver's gaze, gratitude shining in his eyes. "You always know what to say." They continued working in comfortable silence for a while until Noah broke it again with a playful challenge. "Okay, let's make this interesting. How about we each create something that represents us?" Oliver raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the idea. "All right, but what are the rules?" "No rules," Noah declared dramatically. "Just pure creativity." With that declaration hanging in the air, they both set to work, each lost in their own world of colors and shapes while occasionally stealing glances at each other's progress. As time passed and their creations began to take form, an undeniable energy filled the room, an unspoken connection that seemed to pulse between them like an invisible thread. Finally, after what felt like hours of creativity and laughter, they stepped back to admire their work. Oliver's piece was vibrant and chaotic, a reflection of his artistic spirit filled with swirling colors and abstract shapes that seemed to dance across the canvas. Noah's creation was more structured yet equally expressive, a collage of images representing his dreams and aspirations intertwined with snippets of poetry he had written over the years. "This is incredible," Oliver exclaimed as he studied Noah's piece closely. "You've captured so much emotion here. Thanks. I feel like it really represents who I am," Noah replied shyly but clearly proud of his work. "And mine?" Oliver asked playfully. "Yours is wild and free, just like you," Noah said with a grin. They stood there admiring each other's creations when suddenly an idea struck Oliver. "Let's hang them up down here. This can be our gallery." Noah laughed at the thought but quickly agreed. They found some old nails and hung their artwork on the walls of the basement, a makeshift gallery that felt uniquely theirs. As they stepped back to admire their handiwork, something shifted in the atmosphere once again. The basement felt even more like a sanctuary now, a space filled with their shared creativity and connection. Feeling emboldened by their artistic collaboration and the intimacy of the moment, Oliver turned to Noah with sincerity in his eyes. "I'm really glad we're doing this together." "Me too," Noah replied softly. In that moment of vulnerability, they leaned closer once again, this time sharing a kiss that was deeper and more passionate than before. It was as if all their unspoken feelings poured into that single moment, a culmination of everything they had explored together. When they finally pulled away breathless once more, both knew this was just the beginning of something beautiful, a journey filled with love and discovery that would shape them both in ways they couldn't yet imagine. The days turned into weeks, and the bond between Oliver and Noah deepened with each passing moment. Their secret sanctuary in the basement had become a refuge where they could explore their feelings and creativity without the constraints of the outside world. Yet, as much as they cherished their time together, the reality of their situation loomed over them like a shadow. One afternoon, while they were painting together, Noah paused, his brush hovering above the canvas. "Can we talk about something serious?" he asked, his tone shifting from playful to contemplative. Oliver set down his brush, sensing the weight of Noah's words. "Of course. What's on your mind?" Noah took a deep breath, his brow furrowing slightly. "I've been thinking about us, about what this means for our family." Oliver felt a knot form in his stomach. He had been grappling with the same thoughts but had hoped to avoid the conversation for just a little longer. "Yeah, I've been thinking about that too," he admitted. "I just don't want to hurt anyone," Noah said softly, his voice tinged with concern. "What if they don't understand? What if they judge us?" Oliver reached out, placing a reassuring hand on Noah's shoulder. "I get it. It's complicated. But we can't ignore what we feel just because we're afraid of how others might react." Noah nodded, but uncertainty lingered in his eyes. "I know that, but it's hard not to worry. Family is everything to me." "It is for me too," Oliver replied gently. "But we have to be true to ourselves first. If we hide who we are, we'll end up resenting it." They sat in silence for a moment, both lost in thought. The weight of their feelings pressed heavily upon them as they contemplated the implications of their relationship. "What if we just take it slow? Like, really slow?" Noah suggested finally, his voice barely above a whisper. "Slow sounds good," Oliver agreed, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. "We can navigate this together and figure out how to approach it when we're ready." Noah smiled faintly at that, though the tension still lingered in the air between them. "I just want to make sure we're both on the same page." "We are," Oliver assured him. "We'll figure it out as we go along." With that understanding hanging between them, they returned to their painting, but the atmosphere felt different, charged with an unspoken agreement that they would tread carefully moving forward. As days turned into nights filled with laughter and stolen kisses in their basement sanctuary, the outside world continued its relentless pace. Family gatherings became increasingly tense for Noah. He could feel the weight of unspoken expectations pressing down on him. One evening during dinner with family, Oliver could see Noah's discomfort growing as relatives discussed future plans and aspirations, conversations filled with assumptions about what Noah should do after college. "Maybe you should consider law school," one aunt suggested brightly. "You'd be great at it." Noah forced a smile, nodding politely but clearly struggling to maintain his composure. Oliver watched as Noah's gaze drifted toward the basement door, a silent plea for escape. After dinner, as everyone dispersed into various conversations, Oliver found Noah standing alone near the back porch, staring out into the twilight. "Hey," Oliver said softly as he approached him. Noah turned to face him, his expression a mix of frustration and sadness. "I can't keep pretending everything is fine," he admitted, his voice trembling slightly. "You don't have to," Oliver replied gently. "You can talk to me about anything. I just feel so trapped," Noah confessed, tears glistening in his eyes. "Everyone has these expectations of me, what I should study, who I should be, and I don't know if I want any of it." Oliver stepped closer, wrapping an arm around Noah's shoulders in a comforting embrace. "It's okay to feel lost sometimes," he whispered softly. "You're not alone in this." Noah leaned into Oliver's embrace, finding solace in his presence as he took a deep breath to steady himself. "I wish I could just be honest with them, with everyone." "You will be when you're ready," Oliver reassured him. "Just remember that you have people who care about you, who will support you no matter what path you choose." Noah pulled back slightly to look into Oliver's eyes. "And what about us? How do we fit into all of this?" Oliver hesitated for a moment before responding carefully. "We'll figure it out together, step by step." As they stood there under the dim porch light, surrounded by the sounds of family laughter echoing from inside the house, Noah felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. The next few days passed in a blur of tension and uncertainty as they navigated family dynamics while trying to maintain their connection in secret moments stolen away from prying eyes. One evening after another tense family dinner filled with discussions about future plans and expectations for Noah's career path, Oliver found himself sitting alone in the basement after everyone had gone to bed. He picked up his sketchbook and began drawing absent-mindedly when he heard footsteps descending the stairs behind him. Turning around, he saw Noah enter quietly. "Hey," Noah said softly as he approached. "Hey," Oliver replied with a smile that quickly faded when he noticed the troubled look on Noah's face. "I need to talk," Noah said urgently. "Of course," Oliver said immediately concerned. "I can't keep doing this," Noah admitted, his voice shaking slightly. "I feel like I'm living two lives, one up there with my family and one down here with you, and it's tearing me apart." Oliver felt his heart sink at Noah's words. He understood all too well how difficult this was for him. "What do you want to do?" he asked gently. "I want to be honest about who I am," Noah said firmly now but still trembling slightly beneath it all. "And what does that look like?" Oliver pressed softly but earnestly. He wanted to understand where this was coming from. I think I need to tell my family about us," Noah said finally after taking a deep breath, a mixture of fear and determination etched across his features. Oliver felt a rush of emotions at those words, fear mingled with pride at Noah's courage, but also concern for what might come next. "Are you sure?" he asked cautiously. "I don't want to hide anymore," Noah replied resolutely. "I want them to know who I really am, who we really are." As those words hung in the air between them like an unbreakable bond forged through shared vulnerability and love over time spent together in their secret sanctuary below ground level, Oliver knew there was no turning back now. "Then let's do it together," he said finally after taking a deep breath himself, determination filling him too now alongside love for this brave young man before him willing finally step out from behind closed doors into open light where acceptance awaited them both if only they could find their way there through fear first together hand in hand facing whatever lay ahead bravely side by side united forevermore against any storm threatening their love story yet untold still waiting patiently just beyond horizon waiting patiently until dawn broke anew bringing hope along its path forward leading onward toward brighter days ahead filled joy unending amid uncertainty lingering still ahead uncertain yet hopeful always hopeful nonetheless despite everything else surrounding them both right now. The air in the basement was thick with anticipation as Oliver and Noah prepared to face the reality of their relationship. After weeks of stolen moments and whispered confessions, they had finally agreed to tell Noah's family about their feelings for each other. The weight of that decision hung heavily in the air, but there was also a sense of relief, an acknowledgement that they could no longer hide who they were. As they sat together on the couch, the familiar surroundings felt both comforting and daunting. "Are you ready for this?" Oliver asked, his voice steady but laced with concern. Noah took a deep breath, his heart racing. "I think so. I've never been more sure about anything in my life." He looked into Oliver's eyes, finding strength in their depth. "But I'm scared." "Me too," Oliver admitted. "But we're in this together." No matter what happens. Noah nodded, feeling a surge of determination. Okay. Let's do it. They made their way upstairs, where the sounds of family laughter and chatter filled the air. As they entered the living room, Noah's heart pounded in his chest. He could see his family gathered around, engaged in animated conversations about everything from sports to upcoming holidays. Hey, you two, Sarah called out, her voice brightening the room as she noticed them entering. Join us. Oliver exchanged a glance with Noah, who swallowed hard but nodded in response. They stepped further into the room, feeling the weight of every gaze upon them. Everything okay? Jake asked, noticing the tension in Noah's posture. Yeah, Noah replied, forcing a smile. Actually, we have something we want to share. The room quieted down as everyone turned their attention to Noah and Oliver. The atmosphere shifted from casual chatter to focused anticipation. What is it? Sarah prompted gently, sensing the seriousness in her brother's demeanor. Noah took a deep breath, feeling Oliver's reassuring presence beside him. I want to tell you all something important, he began, his voice steadying as he spoke. Oliver and I were together. A moment of silence followed his words, a stillness that felt like an eternity as everyone processed what they had just heard. What do you mean, together? Their father asked cautiously, his brow furrowing slightly. Noah glanced at Oliver before continuing, feeling a rush of courage. We're in a relationship. We care about each other deeply. The reactions varied, some faces showed surprise while others reflected confusion. Sarah's eyes widened in realization, but she quickly masked her surprise with support. Wow, that's big news, she said encouragingly. Their mother looked between them, her expression softening as she took it all in. Are you happy? She asked gently. Yes, Noah replied without hesitation, glancing at Oliver with a smile that spoke volumes. We really are. Their father remained silent for a moment longer before speaking again. This is unexpected, he said slowly, choosing his words carefully. But we love you both and want you to be happy. The tension began to dissipate as murmurs of support filled the room. Sarah stepped forward and wrapped her arms around both Noah and Oliver tightly. I'm so proud of you for being honest. This is amazing. Jake joined in the embrace, adding his own encouragement. Seriously, you guys are great together. As more family members expressed their support, Noah felt an overwhelming sense of relief wash over him, like a heavy weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Thank you for accepting us, Oliver said softly, gratitude evident in his voice. Their mother stepped forward next, her eyes glistening with emotion. You are both brave for sharing this with us, she said warmly. Love is love, and we will always support you. Noah felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes as he absorbed their acceptance. The fear that had once gripped him began to fade away, replaced by an overwhelming sense of belonging. As conversations resumed around them, filled with questions and laughter, Noah turned to Oliver with a smile that lit up his face. We did it, he whispered incredulously. We did, Oliver replied, pulling Noah into a tight embrace filled with warmth and affection. In that moment, surrounded by family who loved them unconditionally, Noah realized how liberating it felt to be true to himself, how beautiful it was to embrace love without fear or hesitation. As they stood there together amidst the joyful chaos of family life surrounding them now, no longer hiding but celebrating who they were, Noah knew this was just the beginning of their journey together. Hand in hand, they would navigate whatever challenges lay ahead while cherishing every moment spent side by side, creating memories filled with laughter and love that would last a lifetime.